In 2019, I remember sitting in my room with my PC right in front of me, hanging out on a Discord call with some close friends. We were preparing for a D&D campaign we were about to play, and as usual, our conversation went off on a tangent, this time to talk about anime, specifically a newly released anime called Demon Slayer. At the time, I wasn't watching anime at all. I'm not sure why. Maybe I just preferred spending my free time on other hobbies, like gaming, reading, or anything else. But I still remember vividly what my friends told me that day. Dude, you have to watch this, you won't regret it, it's the best anime of the season, just do it. Next thing I know, I'm sitting on my couch, turning on the TV and getting ready to watch the first episode of Kimetsu no Yaiba. Little did I know how much this journey would impact me. It was heartwarming to be introduced to this simple family living in the snowy mountains of feudal Japan. A mother and her children taking care of each other, smiling through life's hardships. Their strength came from the oldest brother, Kamado Tanjiro. But the warmth and joy of those first moments were quickly ripped away, replaced by grief as cold as the mountain snow. The only warmth left was the blood of Tanjiro's family, brutally murdered while he was away. The sole survivor, his sister Nezuko, had been turned into an Oni, a demon, and yet Tanjiro refused to kill her because she was all he had left. The only thing I could think after watching the first episode was, how would I feel if I were in Tanjiro's place? If one of my worst fears became reality and I lost all my loved ones in such tragedy? I was crushed, not because of how quickly I connected with these characters, but because in his place, I know I would have gone mad, blinded by rage, consumed by anger, lost in resentment, and ready to never see the light of day again. But as I kept watching, as I followed his journey, Tanjiro showed me why he's not just the protagonist of the story. He is the kind of man every hero should be. The first thing we learn is that a demon attacked Tanjiro's family. Only a demon could have turned his sister into one of its kind. These creatures are vicious, driven by an insatiable hunger for human blood to grow stronger. They never expose themselves to sunlight, which is deadly to them, and they follow the will of a single leader, Kibutsuji Muzan. For Tanjiro, most of that doesn't really matter. His only goal, at least at first, is to save his sister, to find some unknown cure for her demonic transformation. This decision leads him to join the Demon Slayer Corps. If there's any hope of helping Nezuko, it lies in understanding the nature of demons and the control Muzan has over them. In the end, finding and confronting Muzan might be the only way to save what's left of his family. But instead of letting his pain and anger consume him, instead of seeking revenge at any cost, Tanjiro's heart reveals a merciful and kind man, someone willing to do anything for his family, to protect innocent lives, and even look past the horrific, disfigured nature of the demons he faces. He sees their suffering, he recognizes the remnants of their humanity, and in many cases, gives them the closest thing to redemption they will ever have. He is not the most talented swordsman or the strongest fighter. His training is excruciating. But his goal, to save his sister, outweighs any pain he might endure along the way. In every sense, Tanjiro embodies everything a man should be, even though he's only a teenager. Now compare his personality and behavior to this. In Demon Slayer, the exaggerated personalities and temperaments of the supporting characters make Tanjiro's qualities stand out even more. He's clearly the most responsible and level-headed member of the group. In some ways, he naturally takes on the role of a leader, guiding and bringing out the best in his companions. One of the earliest moments that truly defines who Tanjiro is comes during his battle against Rui and his spider family. When fighting the mother spider demon, he changes his breathing technique mid-air, right before delivering the final blow. The reason? He realizes that despite being a demon, she welcomes death. She sees it as her only escape from Rui, the one who turned her into a demon and forced her into submission. Tanjiro understands her suffering, her need to be free. Instead of cutting her down in rage, he gives her the most merciful death possible. Then comes the fight against Rui himself, a defining moment in Demon Slayer, and one that shows exactly why Tanjiro is the protagonist. For the first time, he unleashes the Hinokami Kagura, the legendary sun-breathing technique, making him the only living person capable of using the strongest Demon Slayer breathing style. But even with this power, even with Nezuko's help, he still loses. And that's what makes him so relatable. Tanjiro is strong. He trains harder than most. He gives everything he has in a fight, but he's still human. He's limited, and on his own, he knows he wouldn't be able to overcome the challenges ahead. After watching the first season in 2019, of course, I was grateful for my friends for their recommendation. I was finally excited for anime again, after a few years of ignoring them completely. Thanks to that excitement, I watched Tanjiro grow and develop into one of the greatest protagonists I have ever seen. I will never forget being in the movie theater, having the chance to watch the Mugen Train arc for the first time. The movie not only introduced me to the man who would become my favorite hashira, but also presented one of the most telling and beautiful scenes in the anime. Enmu, the sleep demon, used a very particular strategy while trying to assassinate the demon slayers on the train, by inducing them into a dream that reflected their hopes and what they held dear. He used civilians as tools to infiltrate the subconscious of his victims and destroy their spiritual core, effectively killing them. That's when we see Tanjiro's subconscious for the first time, a beautiful and endless sky, a safe and warm environment where anyone could feel welcome. The kindness of his spirit and mind, the goodness in his heart, was so striking that it was impossible to kill him. The assassin simply couldn't do it. Beyond that, Tanjiro's dream was simply being reunited with his family, living a peaceful life in the mountains, taking care of his siblings, and helping his mother, the very people whose death motivated him to take the Demon Slayer path. His love for his family is evident when he realizes he's in a dream, but his resolution is much stronger than any feelings he might have for such memories. He knows he has to escape. I cannot express how strong a person needs to be to handle this situation like Tanjiro did. Going back to reality to save his friends means killing himself in the dream. Besides the natural doubt and uncertainty of the situation, it's still a drastic thing to do even in a dream. But doing it once might not be that difficult to pull off. The real test is that it isn't just once. During his fight against Enmu, Tanjiro continually kills himself instantly every time he falls asleep. His willpower to stay in the fight and defeat the demon to save his friends and the passengers is so massive that he doesn't even hesitate to end his own life repeatedly. This is such a good and unique way to write an emotionally and psychologically strong character. However, of course, things could not be that simple. Enmu was not the only demon they had to deal with, which led to the fight between Rengoku and Akaza. That was the first time we saw an upper moon. It was also the first time the protagonist was utterly incapable of doing anything. He couldn't save anyone. He could barely move due to his wounds. He could only watch as Rengoku bought enough time to save everyone's life except his own. As one of the greatest symbols of mentorship and guidance in the anime, Rengoku gave Tanjiro something no other character had given him: a unique sense of acceptance, hope, and a legacy to be followed. From that moment forward, Tanjiro recognized just how deep the responsibility of the Demon Slayer Corps truly was. His mission under the lights of the entertainment district further highlights his virtues. Even while infiltrating a brothel, he remains incredibly helpful and dedicated to any chores or tasks given to him, always ready to do whatever he can for those around him. This arc also presents an interesting nuance in his role as a protagonist. After witnessing the destruction caused by Daki and the countless lives she has taken, his internal monologue reveals a man who sees nothing extraordinary about himself. He isn't a chosen one. He isn't inherently better or more capable than anyone else. And he doesn't even know how to properly use the sun breathing yet. But despite all that, he understands that in order to protect those people and stand against evil, he must give everything he has. This unwavering resolve triggers one of the most epic and visually stunning sequences in the anime. Pushing past every physical limit, he uses Hinokami Kagura with everything he has left, coming dangerously close to killing Daki before collapsing completely deprived of oxygen. Yet again, in one of his greatest moments as a protagonist, Tanjiro still needs help. Both he and Nezuko do their best to face Daki, and while they manage to hold their own against her, she isn't even the true upper moon. Her brother, Gyutaro, is also part of the equation. The fact that none of the demon slayers in the entertainment district, not even Uzui, could defeat an upper moon alone shows just how high the stakes are and how crucial each character is to the battle. Tanjiro's strength and protagonism are evident. Uzui needs his help to defeat Gyutaro, but at no point he's reduced to an overpowered figure who single-handedly resolves every conflict. His qualities as a protagonist are so compelling that even the strongest demon slayers in the series are affected by his presence. He was brave enough to confront Muichiro, criticizing his indifference toward those around him, which led the Mist Hashira to understand his role in the world on a much deeper level. He also supported Mitsuri, acknowledging her past struggles and reassuring her that her strength was something to be embraced rather than feared, offering her the acceptance she had always longed for. But the most significant impact, at least to me, is the difference he makes in Gyu's life. Gyu's journey has been marked by deep insecurities and tragedies, leading him to doubt himself to the point where he doesn't even believe he deserves the title of Water Hashira. He even goes as far as asking Tanjiro to take his place. While the full resolution of their relationship hasn't been explored in the anime yet, the manga makes it clear just how much Tanjiro's trust in Gyu means. Their bond plays a crucial role in the fight against the Upper Moons and the final battle against Muzan. His mentality, temperament, emotional maturity, and the respect he has for his family's legacy make Tanjiro an exceptional example of what a hero should be. He transcends his status as a fictional character, standing as a true symbol of masculinity and responsibility. For all of those reasons and more, I believe Demon Slayer has not only one of the best protagonists in recent anime history, but also a solid story that deserves recognition. I know some argue that the series is carried by its animation or that the writing is weak, but that's a discussion for another video. If you enjoyed this analysis, don't forget to like and subscribe. It's truly helpful and deeply appreciated. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.